welcome back to Drinking by My Shelf. Today I am firmly on the soft drinks on Ribena because today, well, when I'm filming this, not when you're watching this, is the day after my birthday, and that was a big one, so I'm feeling very hungover and fragile, sticking to my strawberry Ribena for today. But because it's my birthday weekend and I'm feeling all excited, and it is halfway through the year, I suddenly realised it's time for the mid-year freak out book tag, which is one of my favourite tags to do because it just involves getting really overexcited about books. Can't beat that. Strawberry Ribena is weird. I prefer normal Ribena, but they were out in the shop, so strawberry it is. It's very sweet. So this tag was originally created by Chami, and I will link to her original video below, and also to the last 2 years of me doing this video if you're interested in those. But this year, let's get on with the questions. Question 1, what is the best book you've read so far in 2018? And I have picked 3 options for this. Couldn't narrow them down. And these are all ones that I've read like in the last month, the last 2 months. So it's been a really great reading summer for me so far. And those 3 are Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi, which a lot of you will have read already because it's been huge and it was so good. Like worth all of the hype. So sad. All of my favourites here are pretty sad. It's about 2 sisters who are separated at birth. They don't even know of each other's existence. They're not actually separated at birth. They're born at different times. But you know what I mean. They don't know each other. And they have very different fates. So one of them is married off to a slave trader and the other one is sold as a slave. And then it goes down the generations, each chapter kind of being a new generation, about the different lives and the different like paths that led them down. And it's just phenomenal. Really amazing book. And another best book of the year is The Great Believers by Rebecca Makkai. It's so good. Oh my goodness. It was one of those books that like as I was reading it, I was like, this is becoming my favourite book ever. And it's got like 2 separate timelines. So one of them is Chicago in the 80s, following this young gay man named Yale. It's during the AIDS crisis, and it's about just him and his group of friends and how they're all affected by it, and that's all really sad. And at the beginning of the book, one of his best friends, Nico, has just died, leaving behind a younger sister, Fiona, so Yale and Fiona make this really strong friendship. And then the other timeline going on is present day, Fiona in Paris, trying to find her estranged daughter who joined a cult and has been missing. So 2 pretty different kind of timelines, but they intersect really, really well, and just all of the characters were so rich and wonderful, and the timelines worked so well together. I loved this book. And then finally, I'm not getting any cheerier with my choices, apparently I'm just loving sad books at the moment, A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I was quite resistant to reading this one because it's like this long, it's like 720 pages or something, and the type is really, really small. So I was like, I don't really want to read just like that many pages of sadness because I knew it was going to be so sad. I will say it took me a while to get into it. For the first like 100 pages even, I don't know if it was quite that much, but I was just really not into it and I was wondering whether I should even keep reading. I was like texting my friends who'd read it, asking if it was worth it, but then I suddenly got into it and then it was just absolutely beautiful. Not everyone likes this book. I've heard some very strong reviews not liking it, particularly from Mercedes, Mercy's Bookish Musings, so watch her video if you want the flip side. But I thought it was really, really beautiful. And I was worried that it was going to be just gratuitous sadness. And actually, I didn't feel like it was. I like sad books that you like get something from and learn something from. And I felt like it was a lesson in compassion. And also just the sad truth that some traumas are unbeatable. That people who've suffered severe traumas, you can't just sort of wait for them to be okay. They're never going to be okay. But they can still have joy in their life. There is quite a lot of happiness in this book. I was expecting it to be like just sadness on every page. There's a lot of happiness. But there's just this constant underlying trauma that's never going away. Yeah. I thought it was really, really wonderful and beautiful. And the 2 main characters, oh my goodness, I will just like remember them forever. And that will be coming up in a later question. So those are my 3 sad, brilliant books. Question number 2 is, what is your favourite sequel you have read in 2018? And I went through my whole Goodreads, I haven't read any sequels. I don't really read series, so most of the books that I read wouldn't have sequels. I am about to read this month Us Against You by Fredrik Backman, which is the sequel to Beartown, my favourite book of the year last year. So I'm hoping that will be good and that will be my favourite sequel of the year, but I haven't read it yet, so I don't know. And that leads me on very nicely to question 3. What's a new release that you haven't read yet but want to? Us Against You. It came out at the beginning of June and I was like so desperate for it, but then I still haven't read it yet because I had other things to read. But it's next on my list and I just can't wait. Question 4 is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? And I don't have something that I'm like desperately waiting for right now, but I am really excited for Providence by Caroline Kepnes. That's coming out in November because I really, really enjoyed You and Hidden Bodies. Providence isn't like a sequel to the Joe stories though, it's a new story. So I'm excited to read it, but I would probably, if it was like another sequel to You and Hidden Bodies, then I would be like way more excited because I love those books. Question 5 is, what was your biggest disappointment of the year so far? I'm going to say Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, just because I really hoped I would love this book. I don't really read poetry, I've never really got into it, and lots of people said that like even if you don't really know poetry, you will like this book. So I just had really, really high hopes, and sadly I didn't like it really at all. So that was disappointing. And the next question is, what was your biggest surprise of the year? And that was History of Wolves by Emily Fridland. I didn't know what to expect with this one, but I just wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. I had heard like an extract of it and wasn't gripped by it before, and I thought it would be a wonderful book. I know it was a Man Booker shortlisted one. I thought it would be really, really good, but slow moving, and like one of those books that you kind of are glad to have read more so than like enjoy every word. But I actually found it so page turning, and like I was gripped by it. I read it really quickly, and that was surprising to me. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, but I really, really did. Question number 7 is, who is your new favourite author? And I always find this one a bit tricky because I don't tend to read like a lot of books by the same author in a row. So really I've only read like one book by each author so far, but I'm going to say for this it's going to be Daphne du Maurier. This is a bit of a guess, but I read My Cousin Rachel and I loved it, and I just feel like I'm going to love Rebecca just as much. So I'm kind of guessing that Daphne du Maurier is going to be a new favourite author for me, because My Cousin Rachel was like bloody brilliant, you guys. Question 8, newest fictional crush. And I don't know if this is like weird to say because the book is like definitely not about this and it's like sad. But going back to my new fave, A Little Life, Jude, the main character, the one who's like suffering from this trauma, the author just keeps like describing how beautiful he is, and all of the characters keep saying how beautiful he is. So while reading it, I just like kind of fell in love with him. So he was so beautiful. So he's my newest fictional crush. I don't really get like crushes on books, so that's the only one. Sorry if that's a bit like inappropriate because it's not like a romance book, but I can picture him and he's really gorgeous in my head. And then keeping this book in my hand, because the next question is, who's your new favourite character? And Willem, the other main character in this, has got to be my new favourite character. He is so nice and so wonderful. I just want to hug him, or I want him to hug me. He just feels like he would make everything better. He's such a great character and a great person. I don't really know what number question I'm in now, so next question, what's a book that made you cry? And I'm still holding this, so yeah, this one. But actually, if I'm being honest, books don't tend to make me cry. I don't tend to like literally cry tears out of my eyes. This one I kept having to put it down. It made me more like severely sad than any book I've ever read. So this one definitely, but I didn't actually cry. I just like, it was too much to cry. Like often if something's too emotional I don't cry. I cry more at like happy things or surprising things. Homegoing also really, really choked up, kept having to put it down. Like one point I like put it down, did a walk around the block just to like recover, but didn't cry out of my eyes. But The Great Believers literally made me cry, which is really, really rare. And I think it's because it was really sad, it had a lot of sadness, but it also had more happiness. And I think that is what tends to make me cry, is if something is like a surprising nice thing. Like the moment in A Little Life where I most was like, oh my god, I'm gonna cry, was this like one sweet little nice thing. So yeah, crying. Next question, what's a book that made you happy? And for that, I'm going to say Dear Mrs. Bird by A.J. Pierce, which is so sweet. It's such a nice, sweet book. It's been like flying off the shelves, so you've probably already heard of it, and I did recommend it in my book break summer recommendations video, so you should have seen it there. But it's basically about a girl called Emmy living in London in the 40s, and she wants to be a war journalist, a war correspondent. So she gets a job thinking that that's what she's going to be, and she ends up actually working for an agony aunt called Dear Mrs. Bird, or called Mrs. Bird. The letters are to Dear Mrs. Bird. But Mrs. Bird's like kind of mean, and she doesn't really like answering any questions that she thinks are inappropriate, like if they're about marriage or sex or relationships or pregnancy or anything. So Emmy starts answering the letters herself, and it's just a lot of fun. It's also sad. It's also got some sad bits, but it's overall just like, she's such a cheery, optimistic character that it just made me feel so happy. The opening of this book is so perfect. Okay, so this is the second sentence. I've had rather a cheerful day so far, despite the Luftwaffe annoying everyone by making us all late for work, and then managed to get hold of an onion, which was very good news for a stew. That's just like a sign of the spirit of this book. Next question, what's your favourite book-to-movie adaptation that you've seen? I'm the worst, because I never really watch movies. I've been to the cinema once this year. I feel like I've been twice, but I don't know what I saw. But I definitely went to see Avengers, the most recent Avengers movie. So I guess does that count? I've never read the book. the graphic novels that they came from, but I liked the movie. What is your favourite video that you've made? That one I think has got to be the one where I was unboxing and tasting vegan snacks with my husband, just because it was so funny and we laughed so much. We actually did 3 of those. It was the second one specifically was my favourite because we just had so much fun doing it, and I think it's a really funny video, so I will link to that all over the place. Question second to last is, what's the most beautiful book you've bought this year? So it's kind of cheating because I didn't buy it, I got it from work, but The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart. Look at this. Gorgeous flowery cover. It's also textured. I love when book covers are textured. And it's also beautiful on the inside. Each chapter, let me find it, has a little drawing of a flower inside it. It's just really nice. And you'll see a video coming up shortly on Book Break about this one. And then finally, the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And seriously, all of these, loads, just too many to name. But if I had to pick ones I definitely want to read by the end of the year. One second, I'm going to go have a look. I would really like to read Night Film this year, because I've been wanting to read that one for a while, so that would be one. And I really want to read at least one of my Persephone books. I got a whole collection for Christmas. Haven't read any yet. So I picked up this one, The Homemaker, because I think that's the one I'm going to start with, just because I've heard such wonderful things about it. So that's it. That's my mid-year freak out book tag. Is that what it's called? Those are all the books I'm really excited about so far, and do leave me a comment letting me know what are the best books that you've read so far this year. Love me those book recommendations. Shut up, tumble dryer. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and hit that subscribe button below for new videos every Friday, plus bonus videos throughout the week like this one. See you next time.